if you're a services professional, regardless of whether you are an attorney or a CPA or a healthcare services provider or a financial advisor, you simply must be on LinkedIn. It's probably your strongest social media platform in terms of growing your business, and it can actually happen pretty quickly. So you want to start by optimizing your profile. And before you do that, I would suggest going into your settings and turning off the notifications to your network of updates to your profile, because otherwise every single thing that you update, you're going to start generating these somewhat annoying notifications. So wait until you have just about finished updating your profile, and then just before you add the last thing, which ideally should be something like a video, then turn the notifications back on, and then your network will get a notice that you have just updated your profile with a video, for example, and they'll go in and they'll see your profile and it's shiny new. So that's really an important place to start. So when you're looking at optimizing your profile, there's a few things that you want to consider. First of all, start with a professional headshot. This is not the place to have you with your kids or you with your cat. I've seen some pretty incredible headshots on LinkedIn before. I saw a guy with his parrot, for example. People get really creative. But remember, this is a business setting. This is not Facebook. This is not Instagram. This is not a place for a selfie. This is a place for you to look professional, as if you were going to a job interview, because digitally you kind of are. And then the next thing you want to look at is, you'll notice that there's a banner image that can go behind your headshot on LinkedIn. So some ideas of what you can use for that would be, for example, if you do any speaking events, then you with a microphone speaking at an event would be a great example. You with your team, you in some sort of a business setting would also be good. If you don't have any of those, then maybe a picture of the city where you're working and looking to network could be okay as well. But if at all possible, try to use that space in order to subtly reinforce what you do and the types of connections that you're looking for. And then you want to look at the headline that you have next to your name. So that headline, if you notice, when people are coming up in your feed on LinkedIn, that's really the message that you get about what that person's all about, and people are scrolling through and they're deciding connect, don't connect, based on the headshot and the headline, pretty much. So you want it to be compelling, and you also want it to contain the keywords that relate to the ideal search terms that you would like to be found for. So for example, if I want to be found as a fractional CMO, which I do, you'll notice that that's in my headline, because that's also a keyword phrase where people can search and find me there. And then similarly, when you're writing your bio, which is the next section of your LinkedIn profile, you want that to speak to your audience and sound interesting and not stale. And I do recommend that you write it in the first person, because if you were out at a networking event and you were talking to people, you would be speaking in the first person. And it just seems a little bit too formal and stiff when it's being written in the third person. So that I do recommend that, but you want to keep it professional, but keep it interesting. So you're going to talk about what your expertise, what makes you different, and what you're looking for in terms of connections. So if you're looking for speaking events, then it's perfectly fine at the end to say, that you are available for selected speaking engagements, and here's your contact information. And if you make your profile visible to everyone and you have your contact information also visible in your bio, then people don't have to go through a whole lot of effort in terms of connecting with you, and then making sure that you accept the connection in order to get your contact information. If they're interested, it's right there front and center. So that's something else that is important. The next thing you want to look at is, you'll notice that you can actually drag around the different sections of your LinkedIn profile. So if you have a lot of endorsements, which you should, first of all, make sure that you have the right keywords in your endorsements, that you would like people to recognize you for that skill. And then if you've got a lot of endorsements, by all means, drag that up close to the top. If you have an outstanding educational pedigree, drag that up closer to the top. If you have some recommendations, drag that up closer to the top. And when you're thinking about the order of priority of some of those things, remember how influenced people are by social proof. So, we're all like sheep. We really care what everybody else is doing, what everybody else is thinking. And so if other people are saying good things about you and endorsing you for things, then that just makes you look stronger. And so having those endorsements and recommendations sections up close to the top is very, very important. So once you've optimized your profile, and there's a few other things that you can add, and again, you're thinking about this in a business sense, right? So this is not the same way that you might write your about you on Facebook. LinkedIn is very much of a business audience. So now you want to look at the media that you would add. So examples might be if you have a video snippet of you speaking at an event, then you can upload that media. Or it may be some videos that you're recording for your YouTube channel that demonstrate your area of expertise, then you can add that. If you've ever been interviewed and you had an article that was published in a business-related magazine, include a screenshot of the cover of the magazine with a link to the article, or if there was a press release, you can include that. So again, it's more items of credibility that you want to add and upload to your profile. And then remember, just before you upload the last media item, go ahead and turn on the notifications setting and then upload it so that your followers will be aware. So now you've got a great looking profile and you need to use it. You need to reach out. So the first thing you want to do is start making connections. Now LinkedIn will actually recommend connections for you, and you can go through and just click connect, 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 connect. So a lot of times clients will ask me, how do I know who I should accept a connection from and who I shouldn't? Well, my general rule of thumb is if you were at a networking event and you would like to have a conversation with that person at a networking event, connect with them. If they are someone who appears to be trying to sell you something, maybe don't connect with them unless it's something you want to buy. If it's someone who is, maybe really junior and doesn't have a profile picture and doesn't look like they're serious on LinkedIn and they've just kind of come up, then I would not connect with them. In fact, my general rule of thumb is I don't connect with anyone who doesn't have a profile picture, because if you don't show me your face, then to me that's really the foundation for a relationship. So I need to see who you are, and I kind of want to know that you're serious about connecting with me. So those are kind of some general rule of thumb. But then in some cases you might want to be a little bit more selective in terms of the people that you're reaching out to and requesting a connection from. So in general, LinkedIn has kind of a ranking or sorting algorithm. So if you start connecting with people in a particular profession, so let's say that you're interested in connecting with more doctors. Well, if you go through and you start particularly connecting with the doctors who are showing up as suggested for you, then what you'll find is LinkedIn is in turn going to suggest people who are in their profile, in their network for you to connect with. So that it becomes, in a sense, a filter that will allow you to get more granular in terms of your targeting. And so the corollary of that is that if you're accepting connections from people, know that your network then will be exposed to them. So just be cognizant of people who may be a competitor trying to connect with you, because then suddenly your entire network is opened up to them. And if you see people who are, if they really know how to work their LinkedIn, they're making strategic connections with people because they want into their network. So just be aware of that. So make those connections with your target audience, and then you can go a step beyond the recommended connections and actually proactively reach out and make other connections. Now you'll notice when you try to make a connection with someone who is not a second level connection, that you'll actually have to type something. Now, LinkedIn gives you some standard text, which I recommend you never use because everybody knows that standard text and they know that you really did not make an effort. So try to find something personal that you can add as a note in terms of why you might want to connect with that person. So an easy way might be, if I want to connect with, let's just say, orthopedic surgeons, and I am going to go into the my first level connection within LinkedIn of an orthopedic surgeon I know, and I'm going to see that there's some other orthopedic surgeons that are in his network. So I can reach out to that person and I can make a connection request, and the basis for my connection request is me saying, saw your profile on LinkedIn, noticed that you and I both know Dr. So-and-so, here's how I know him, thought that it might be interesting to connect. I'm working on a project. I can send you some additional information on some research that you might find of interest in your specialty. That would be a super detailed connection request, but even if you make it just as personalized as we both know Dr. So-and-so, thought it might be good to explore potential synergies, that's okay too. So by all means, make those additional strategic connections. And if you're trying to find people to connect with, know that LinkedIn has an advanced search. So if you click on search and you click on advanced, you'll be able to enter different keywords on location and the school that they went to, if you want to find people who are in your alma mater that you would want to reach out to, or particular profession, a geographical area. So any sorts of variables that you can use in that search in order to really pare that down. So you want to really start expanding that network. And then you want to make sure that as you're expanding your network that you're creating valuable content, because then that content, LinkedIn is going to automatically put it in front of your network. So there's really two forms of content on LinkedIn. One is just posts, which are helpful, and you'll get them in your feed all the time. And when you're working your feed, it's also a really good idea to engage with the content that other people are posting. And bottom line, the more that you're engaging on LinkedIn, the more that your profile and your skills are going to show up in other people's feeds for recommendations, for endorsements, and so you definitely do want to be active if you're working your LinkedIn well. So the other thing that you want to think about is making sure that you're creating original content on LinkedIn as articles. So a lot of people are blogging on their website, which is great. If you were to blog on your website and put that same article on LinkedIn at the same time, and by putting the article, I don't mean just sharing the link to the blog on your website, I mean actually pasting it in as a LinkedIn article. That's the second area of content that you can create within LinkedIn. So the challenge with that is that LinkedIn is an authority site. So maybe not the second, but very soon after you post that content, Google's going to index it, whereas your website will naturally take longer. So what I always recommend is post the blog on your website first, and then wait till it's indexed. You'll know because when you enter the title of the blog in Google, your website link will come up. So once that's done, then you know that you'll get the SEO credit for having the first of that content out there posted online. So then you can paste that blog as a native article within LinkedIn, and the benefit is you'll get additional eyeballs on it, as well as now it's going to show up in your profile. So when people are checking you out, they're going to see all the articles that you have written on LinkedIn. And that's also, by the way, a great way to connect with someone, is to tell them that you read their article and here's what you liked about it and you'd like to connect with them. So then the last thing, now you've done all of this, you've expanded your network, you've built up your profile, and now it's the day-to-day working of the system. And you may not like the sounds of this, but you need to be on LinkedIn for an hour a day. Could be when you first wake up in the morning, could be before you go to bed at night, but you really need to be making additional connections. You need to be reaching out when you get, take a look at your feed, make comments, like posts, especially make comments, because really LinkedIn, you're trying to engage a conversation. You may want to, in some cases, If you have something really meaningful that you might say if you were meeting that person in reality, as opposed to trying to sell them something, that you may want to direct message them on LinkedIn. You have a chat function that you can use as well. You want to continue to post new content, to write new articles. If you want to really see some impact, write a new article a day. If you want okay impact, write an article a week, and minimum is you should be writing an article a month. So in addition to writing the articles, you want to look at opportunities to endorse other people who are in your network, because the more you're endorsing them, the more you're coming up in their feed with requested endorsements. You want to be wishing them happy birthday when you're prompted. You want to say congratulations on your work anniversary, congratulations on your new job. And a lot of times just that connection, that reach out may, especially if you do it personally, you don't just use the generic text that LinkedIn provides, that can generate a conversation, and you never know where that conversation can lead. So by doing all of those things, you'll be surprised how quickly that you'll start to get some traction and some actual leads will come in on LinkedIn. And I know that it sounds daunting. I know it sounds like it's a lot. A lot of times we'll help our clients and manage their LinkedIn profiles for them. So we're basically making that initial connection so that when we do have the opportunities for a further conversation that require, the client's area of expertise, then we will pass those leads over to them. So that's your LinkedIn strategy and your homework for the year. I'm Deanne Mora, founder and CEO of Zen Change Marketing.